the suspension so it doesn't travel up and down, because the suspension on the left side, well, there is no suspension, and it's because it's from a beach cruiser. So, having that said, handlebars, they are fitted from the same bike, beach cruiser, and everything works fine. I mean, it's a little loose, but like I said, if you're not going at really high speeds, it doesn't affect the ride at all. And it shifts just fine. Has a new brake, and this is the same one that the two-wheel version had. I'll see if I can find some old pictures of that and show that to you guys later on another video or so. This brake line has a brake light wiring system. So I'm going to try to build a front body that basically will just sit over this. Hopefully put some speakers on it, get some music. Gonna have a navigation system, and that'll all kind of just deck it out. It'll sweeten up this front end. I know it's just a little sketchy looking, but believe me, when you look at all cars when they're first being built chassis-wise, they don't look pretty. But again, with a one wheel in the back, you get a lot more torque, a lot more speed out of it, and like I said, simpler to build. Now, it was a massive challenge enough getting front wheels right, and so you just measure from wheel to wheel, and from the front sides and the back, and then that's how you align them. And once you do that, then you measure all your other pieces of wood. You have to keep them exactly where they were. Continuously check your measurements, make sure they haven't moved. The next time you fit the wood, make sure the wood's measurements are right, and basically everything's like a wishbone idea, the concept of it, because this piece of wood wraps around that piece of pole that sticks right here. This piece of wood wraps around the little pole going down there. Same thing. So the wood just basically just wraps around the pole very nicely, and then screws are driven right through, and so you have a very high torque steering system. Meaning, if you're in the, I've driven this off-road many times, if you're in a ditch or something like that, you can easily torque your way out of a ditch. And if you're right at the front wheels are sticking right in the front of it, you might think the wood would snap, but this is very good wood, and I've turned it right in the middle of a bend and all, and first thing that comes to mind, oh God, the steering's going to break, but it doesn't squeak, you don't hear any wood snapping or nothing, so everything's good as far as that goes. Gearbox, you sit on it, your feet are just pretty much you're just sitting, but pick your feet up. It doesn't have a reverse because of course it's a mountain bike. It has gears on it. They're not designed to have reverse gears because none of them were meant to have 3 wheels, but this one does. Gearbox, when you're driving it, you kind of wanted to have it right here. Problem with that is there's not really a way to mount it there, and your knees are already close enough to it. You're already running a high enough risk banging your knees up, especially if you're a larger person. That's why I had to put it in the center, because if you're a larger person, your knees are going to spread out around it anyway. So that's one of the main ideas why, and reasons why the gearbox is in the center. But when you're driving it, you just shift, down shift, up shift, and then you shift back, shift forward, and everything has there's little pulleys in here that have notches and everything, and so when you pull a pulley back, it slides in a notch, basically first gear, second gear, third gear on the left side, which is the same operation of a twist gear on a mountain bike. As you can see, twist gears would not work. That would be the most awkward looking thing in the world if you had twist gears and you're going like this. And it doesn't make it as fun, especially when you're turning or something. You can still handle the gearbox with ease, and the steering wheel just wraps around the gearbox. It doesn't hit it, so the clearance is as good as it gets. Next thing I want to talk about real quick is how I connected this thing to the actual bicycle frame. I have used, I think, 6 or 7 steel, hardened steel bolts. Very long, very thick, probably about 1/4 of an inch thick bolts. And I had my uncle sit on it. He's a pretty good big guy. He weighs mainly muscle, but he weighs well over 200 and something pounds, and he sat on it. The bike didn't stress. It didn't, you know, bend up one way or lean the other, and it feels, you know, very loose, but that's a good thing. It's like when you're in an off-road car or an off-roading vehicle, you want things to kind of bounce around. You want that rigidity in the frame, because if this thing was completely stiff, completely hard, like every single bolt was unbelievably precise, then what would happen is, if you did hit a bump off-road, you know, if you're hitting something hard, what's going to immediately happen is you're going to end up, you know, hearing a snap. And that's why you got to have that flexibility in the front. Without it, there's nothing you can do. You're going to be in trouble. Anyways, as you can see, 2 gear lines coming out. Very simple. And, you know, after riding it, that's the brake kind of still on, but after you ride it, after I've ridden it many times, I've tuned the front wheels more and more. Used to be very scary at first when I rode it, because I actually didn't have the wishbone idea on the top part. It just had one 2x4 on the bottom, and the thickness of the wood, that's not nearly enough to keep the frames centered. They were wobbling all over the place, and you couldn't turn. There was no torque in the wheels or anything, and that's the main. And then having that new piece of wood on gives it more stability, because this piece of wood is bolted to the frame as well. So the bike can handle even more weight, even more torque, and again, with towing power, you put this thing in first gear, you could probably drag a small car out of it if you had the proper tow line up to it. And that's what's so great about this. Is it'd be great if they sold something like this. People would definitely buy it, especially for around farms or something like that. You know, if you have some hay bales to drag out, and you want an exercise, and you don't necessarily want to pollute the air or nothing like that, or you have a lot of stuff to haul to work and it's right around the corner. You don't have to drive a big old truck. You know, you can put together. I'm gonna build a trailer for it that'll be custom built, so it'll easily hook on, hook off with a single bolt. Probably get a butterfly bolt. Anyways, you know, had a kickstand, but as you can see, pointless. I'll take that off. Less weight, you know. But that's basically it, and I'll try to bring it to school one day or so, and then maybe y'all can check it out. Maybe even drive it around. We'll see what happens. Please subscribe to my channel. Like the video, and then hopefully, if I get enough likes, or I'll just start posting more videos about my inventions and stuff. Just first time I've ever done this, but hopefully I'll get some views. Thank you.